Morena koutou, welcome to the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board meeting, Friday, August 2025. We'll start our hui with Pokia, me no tātou. Pauhihiri, paurārama, pau te whakairo, pau te tangata, pau o te aroha, te pauhihiri nei I a tātou, mauri ora ki a tātou, haumi e, hui e, tārai e. Tēnā koutou katoa. Welcome to the members of the public who are in the public forum this morning. Nice to have you all here. To anybody joining us online, welcome to you also. Just a reminder that the meeting is recorded and live streamed on Far North District Council's YouTube channel and Facebook page. We don't have any deputations this morning, but we do have public forum speakers. We've got 3 public forum speakers. Prior to going to our public forum speakers, do I have any apologies or declarations of interest?
Through the Chair, we have apologies from Deputy Chair Tanya Felia and Member Trinity Edwards. I understand it may be
Member Harmony Gundry. Please. Who those apologies? Yes. Seconded by Jessie. All those in favour? Aye. Just some chair announcements actually before we start our public forum today. The first is just the great event that we held in Kaikohe on the weekend, the Tōkiriki Tour event down at Hawaii. Congratulations to our 3 kura from Tai Tokero who managed to get through to head off to, where are they going? Tauranga next year. So that was Te Kura Kaupapa Māori o Kaikohe, no Honei, Te whare kura o Rangia Niwaniwa, no Te Hiku o Te Ika, and Te whare kura o Te Rāwhiti Roa, no Te Rohe o Whāngarei. Well done to those 3 groups, and just a huge mihi to the organising rōpū for that event. The weather wasn't fantastic, but they managed in some quite trying conditions. Great to see so many whānau from our area here tautoko that wonderful kaupapa in our town. Special thanks to our community from far and wide for the tautoko that they've shown for one of our very own rugby legends and Sport Northland facilitators, Cheryl Waka, who currently is battling stage 4 cancer. She has her first lot of treatment today, so just thinking of her and her whānau. Also thinking of another whānau in our town, the Walkley whānau, Aki Mihi, aroha ki te whānau Walkley, no te hinga o tā koutou kōtiro a tāhua I tēnei wiki, kei te noho ngā whakaro me ngā inoi kia I tēnei wā kauri. Huge condolences to that whānau and to our community who are feeling very aroha for that whānau and for our community at the moment. A special welcome to a new democracy advisor over here, Natasha Romandic. Natasha has joined the democracy team, so welcome, Natasha. And Member Edmonds has a notice.
I just wanted to put it on the end of public forum, but I'll say it now. I mean, it saddens me that we had a traffic event on Hillcrest Road the day before yesterday. And it saddens me even more that this was addressed in 2020 at the community board, where the speeding up and down Hillcrest Road was brought to our attention by a local teacher. And the community board at the time recommended the council wrote to we lobbied, we wrote to the mayor, and we did everything we were asked to do to get traffic calming measures on Hillcrest Road. And they denied us that and instead put traffic calming measures on intersections where there are no speeders in Kaikohe. So the investment was made, just not in the right place. And here we are a few years later with a death and several injuries. So I'd just like to say that I'm very saddened with the council who just ignored the community board in their earnest request for safety measures on Hillcrest Road.
moving on to the public forum. Just a reminder to our public forum that you have 5 minutes to speak to us about your kaupapa, and then if there's time, and then 5 minutes for us to ask questions if we have any for you. So we have first up Mr. Sean Riley. Come to the stage, Mr. Sean Riley. You can sit there or you can come and stand, whatever's comfortable for you.
The first issue is potholes. Both Countdown Car Park and New World Car Park got potholes in them. It's unacceptable, inexcusable, and I've taken it up with both managements and nothing's happened. Maybe a little bit of community board weight will help. The other issue is the dump. You've all seen that thing that I wrote for you on the dump. Is there anything else that somebody might like to get clarified?
No,
So that was, so there's no more issues for people walking over the landfill. Is that right?
What do you mean no more issues with people walking over the landfill?
Members may raise the issue that they thought it was dangerous, so that's what we're going to do. So I take it there's no more issues about people walking over the landfill.
Not that's been reported to any of us, no.
I believe that was about using it for development, if I recall correctly, which is a different issue than walking.
The whole of recreation land is a landfill. Because in John Cribb's day, the junk people over to Mount Carney Road. It's a long time ago, but never mind. Now the issue is dirty gutters. I think that our street sweeping program leaves a lot to be desired. We get a visitor coming to town, the first thing they notice is the streets. If it's a dirty gutter, 50 odd years ago, John Padley and Eddie Cross used to sweep the main street every morning before anybody got here. And we did have a chance once to get hold of the street sweeper, we let it go. But at the same time, I think that's an option that we could look at sometime, because the district could use one rather than engaging one contractor when it's needed. Very, very seldom they ever do that. But it's quite important. Streets are kept swept and tidy gutters. It's nothing, but it's gone a little bit for another day. Oh, we know what it was. They still using this black redaction. It's not good enough. That's public knowledge and should be available. It's no big secret. You want to raise suspicion, you keep something hot hidden. So what is it? It's no big deal. It's public money we're dealing with. We have a right to know. If somebody needed to know, if I have to, I'll write to the Government Commission, Local Government Commission and the Ombudsman to get it ready, because I don't want to see that in there. Actually.
Thank you, Mr. Riley.
Sean, so there's the stuff, as I understand, the stuff that's redacted is personal information about the applicants. So it's only administrative, so that the council can contact them back, and it's not really relevant to the application and concern. So someone has gone there, they've got to have two people, they've got to have phone numbers, email addresses, and all that kind of stuff. And the minute that it's unredacted, then that becomes knowledge that anybody in the world can see. Anybody can spam them, which is, I mean, again, it's in a way it's against the Privacy Act. The Privacy Act says we can only use it for the purposes of which it was collected, and Catherine will tell you that we only collect it so that we can communicate with them. And disclosure for any other reason is legal. So and the Ombudsman has upheld that. The Privacy Commissioner has upheld that for some council information. So I think we're on pretty solid ground there. It's only contact information, is that right? Yeah. So phone numbers, email addresses.
Sure, just a quick comment. Thank you for alerting constantly the need to tidy up the town and the various other things you notice anyway. I'll just say that, I did receive a complaint from Rachel Valdelden, exactly the same comments. Town needs to be tidied up. And remember the channel truck or the wipeout truck? That's gone out now and there's someone looking at tidying things up around town, which is great. I'd like to see if there are people who want to put their hands up, and I do know of one, I can't speak about it at the moment, but looking at helping in that area. But what we need to do in council, so I'm taking this on board what you said, we should be looking at some local contracts that we can get local people actually involved in, because I believe that we did a big job.
Thank you, Councillor Fessich. And Mr. Riley, just on the sweep streaming, I'm just going to ask staff if we can have some information, please, around the regularity of street sweeping and whether the whole town is done. I know about maybe 6 weeks ago, just along Recreation Road up around Mangakahia Road, there was a sweeper. He did a really good job, but I don't believe he did the whole town on that day, but I could be wrong. So just some information, please, would be really helpful so that we know when that's happening. Thanks, Mr. Riley. Next up, in public forum is Linda Bracken, Kaikohe Business Association, Deputy Chair. Kia ora, Linda.
Can you go to the welcome, Tasha? You know me, so I'll try and be brief. I've got several points here, so if I list them, there's retail crime, acknowledging the death of that 11-year-old, CCTV, corrections facilities, the Christmas event, meet the police, meet the candidates, Piney Village, and the Rebel Graham. So you've got a whole lot there. So I'll start off with the death of the 11-year-old, which occurred very close to my home. And a very, very sad occasion. The two youth that are not yet charged have been very active over the last week or so doing burnouts in that particular area. So when I walked past the event, I recognised the car. So it's looking for the community to come forward with some video evidence to help them process that. One of my other hats as well for the area, and acknowledging what you're saying about the need for slowing of the traffic along Hillcrest. One of my other hats is I come out or queer out at the corrections facility. So the father is at the moment in the corrections facility, so trying to wrap support around him while the family's in various stages there. So part of our role there is going in and offering support. Whether he's allowed out to attend the tangi is a different story. Retail crime. So there has been an increase in retail crime in Kaikohe, and I'm sure it's in the other regions as well. So it's cheeky kids going in, pinching chips and what have you, turning around, looking at the camera, signing to the camera and running off. So in response to that, there is the indication to the police that anything under 500, they're not following up. There is a government inquiry, so Northland Changes and KBA will be hosting a government inquiry out at Innovation Park, 7:30 a.m. on next Wednesday, the 30th of August. So trying to get feedback from the community of how we can address it as business owners within the area. CCTV, well, their own cameras will be catching some of those events. The bigger picture for CCTV is the business associations regionally have got together. They've got some funding and they have engaged in what they call a gap analysis. So the stakeholders in that, of course, are the business associations, Whanau District Council, Steve Cooney, part of that team, the local police, the CCTV suppliers, and City Safe. We've had 1 month's report back, and the goal is to prepare the application for funding from the proceeds from crime. which I believe is opening in September. So they haven't had that funding available, and a lot of that's looking at corrections facilities. So nationally, 50 to 60% of the incarcerated are on probation. That means they haven't been sentenced. So going through our judicial process, which again means there's been a slowdown of those funds coming in. So just some figures here for you to be thinking about. So it creates a whole different issue for basically our economy and our local people. It's addressing a lot of ngāpui in that place. It means you've got a lot of family that are sitting there not knowing whether their honey are going to be released this week or sentenced for however many years. And while they're in there in that state, they are not allowed to engage in a lot of the programs that can help to avoid the offender. Kaikohe Business Association has put their hand up, so they're looking at a Christmas event. So I encourage them to try and get the application in as soon as possible, so they're running out of time.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
That's the last opportunity before the board's break for election.
Yeah, I said 20 working days to make a lot. And I told them a month ago, so yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah, we've been promoting that for a couple of months, yeah.
Thank you for that. Meeting new police candidates. So in response to 2 new recruits being added to our police force in Kaikohe, there's going to be a pōwhiri to welcome those, and it's starting to open up and hopefully involve some schools so the kids get to see police in a different light and what they can do for the community rather than them taking a day lunch. So that's an event coming up on Friday the 15th of August. For those of you who are standing for candidacy again, Meet the Candidates is going to be combined with the Kaikohe Business Association AGM. So that's September the 17th at Innovation Park. So if you know that for yourselves. Pioneer Village, we're trying to lift the profile of the village. We had a working bee on Saturday the 2nd and had a really good attendance. The people just stopped at even for an hour. So it's in progress, but we've got a couple of important events coming up. So cancer fundraiser, 30th of August, and then our big one that we're focusing a lot of energy into is Wild West Day on September the 20th. So, going in here. Melissa, under veranda lighting, I've been taking note, and there seems to be more people putting in their own switches for the under veranda lighting, so it's on reassessing where we're at with that and trying to get a bigger picture here.
Okay.
It's probably enough from me for the time being, so thank you for all your work that you've been doing. Any questions?
Through the chair, just could I have that date for the Wild West Day, please?
Sorry,
Pioneer Village.
I'm hard of hearing, so I'm close.
September 20.
September 20 for the Wild West.
The Wild West?
Yeah, September
The 20th of September, a Saturday. We've already engaged the police because we're going to have Wild West horses, and the train will be operating for a short period of time. So the guns and that have been sorted out. So all sorts of things like line dancing, lots of activities for the kids. Just look at our Pioneer Village Facebook page.
Couple of questions.
Linda.
Yeah, thanks, Linda. I take it that the Business Association AGM combined, I just noticed Joe, who's regional council there, like members, including obviously regional council.
Yep.
As well. Yeah, great.
So that was when we had a meeting with the business associations. We sat down with our calendars and tried to get the dates for Meet the Candidates in the future, so we weren't having an overlap.
Another
We didn't have to choose between one or the other.
other question was, you realise that one making the Wild West show they do out there is pretty interesting. You get robbed as you walk in with your car, you have to hand it over, a couple of buxom ladies with shotguns. So I take it you've got health and safety at Pioneer Village, that bring your own not allowed?
Where am I hearing that?
Yes, sir. I said bring your own guns is not allowed, just so we clear, so no one has.
There will be a written, so yeah, bring your own going to let any ammunition. So
So I don't think we should
I
really.
definitely encourage you to dress with your hat
Dress up.
and your boots and your whatever else you need. So I think looking for a fun of you here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Thanks for the work that you do through the Kaikohe Business Association and just to the member of our Yes.
You'll be addressing some of the beautification for Kaikohe, so that's also
Yes.
coming later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe Carr.
You're welcome.
No, hi, my Joe Carr. In the Northern Regional
Oh, sorry, Joe.
No, that's
Didn't mean to do that.
So I just really want to talk about two things. One of them is us, and the other thing is I chair the flexible committee for the region. We're doing a route security investigation forward. And funny enough, all the recommendations say make state highway 10. Anyway, it's still an open document. I suggest state highway 10, state highway 1, a flood out, people come down to the border across the ferry and get out. Maybe people should submit in that direction. And there's only one section of road for access and passport, and that's from Puhoi Road through just past Haven Bridge. So a little bit there is done. And we've got a good emergency route right to Kaikohe. So if you can pick that up, that would be really great. And when I'm talking about us, councils, the government's reforming and we've got the regional council right under focus at the moment. Nice and good. What the costs for governments, councils and all is about $1,000 per person. Huge. So, you know, it's a big spend, so you've got to make sure it's worthwhile. And currently, I don't think the regional councils are worthwhile because of some of their performance. For instance, 3.8 cents or $1.80 is actually spent on flood protection and deliver the statutory responsibility of the catchment authority. Not very good. And so you can see, I've got some good ground to turn over. The RMA reform is quite interesting and also impose on the scope of regional councils, because we're going to get a lot of national standards, national environmental standards under the RMA reforms. It's going to affect district councils too. So all these huge submissions we get on getting very distinctive and varied plans across New Zealand are going to shut down. And the example was given, in all of Japan, there's only 17 actual zones as we consider them in the RMA. It's all of Japan. What are we doing in New Zealand? So that, you know, there's a lot of focus going on there. Really well about our planning. Stop any district planning that's not started the hearings process has actually stopped dead. So this district council plan, proposed plan is in the hearing process. It's going and continue going through that. But yeah, so it'll be interesting and you can oppose things, or you can actually put input into moving them in a more direction, more comfortable, and soften a better way. Just welcome any questions.
Councillor Dixon.
Yeah, Joe, one of the things that has been raised and for Northern in terms of the economy done by the business group is the full laning, and we've heard recently that that's sort of been challenged. And I just acknowledge all the work you've done in the regional and others in the that work the regional transport committee's been done. I hate to see that be lost. There's two questions really. Let's talk about regional council structuring or whatever. we really need a regional transport committee of some sort. And the 4 laning is, I know the route has been chosen and it's looked at. But what guarantee have we got of getting that through? Because that will make a huge difference to the economy in Northland to have that.
Okay, a regional transport committee, I think you need one. But if the regional council, as you know, now becomes more focused on just being a catchment commission, doing stuff like should be GDCs and the dollar spent on that sort of work map. You find that three district councils, well, it's shouldn't fall like I guess for that, because you can also coordinate. So I think that function should still be there because it seems, as I agree with you there, regarding the Brindurans, yeah, the route we put up has been adopted, and it is the NTTA. I understand it went through this week through the NTTA board. It does beg questions. Is why on earth did we do it work on the South Brindurans? That be that question, and also because the implications that total option at a total cost of 400 million, or the disruption costs taken into it is the same. We were very
but to be fair,
history now. So
I mean, that route is not been open for 20 years. So I mean,
oh no, you're wrong. It is the Auckland's been equal, and Northland didn't influence the process to the Brindurans route would be started in 2035. But we were very, very strong. The contracts were going out for a whole corridor type contract, and we got that broken down to sections. So the Brindurans has been pulled out. There's an awful lot of political support to actually get the Brinduran section done. And the reason why that is an important section on its own is with the development of Northport and huge efforts gone in by NRC to change the ownership so that Tauranga got a stake in the land and will facilitate the development of that port, encouraged by Auckland. There's a railway been built for a number of years, probably a decade if you ticked all the boxes and pushed it. But if you increase the flows of containers, there'd be between 2 and 4 trucks going over the Brindurans in either direction at any one time. And if you had a 2-lane system, they set the terminal speed. So the rest of the community should be constrained to the speed of the slowest truck. So it actually needs two lanes both ways.
oh yeah,
So that's been pushed pretty hard, and my understanding is it's been quite well received.
if I comment on the time frame was merely, I mean, it took the Puhoi to the Hana section. It's yeah, has been was planned for 10 years, 18 years of actual. I mean, there's your 20 years, right?
So, okay. Well, we know the volumes and stuff. Regional Transport Committee itself mainly had done volunteering for us a CAD design for the environment. So we know the cut through volumes, the line, and it was put laws in the so we've got so much information that we can actually suggest it's done locally, local contractors, local contractors. And that's what we're pushing for. And we believe that some section could be done in 2 construction seasons.
So we've almost run out of time. If you can answer Jesse's question in a couple of words, that would be great.
Kia ora, Tahiki Road flood section was what it often floods. It's a really big problem for us in Hokianga. We were entirely cut off during Cyclone Gabriel. Only a Unimog could get through. emergency services, just a normal floods struggle, same as our supplies to our stores. What can this board do in terms of submissions, and what can people in Hokianga or anyone else do to actually submit to get change there?
Exactly what point, right?
Where you see in there, Puha Road.
What you should do is actually make a submission. You can see the submission through to me.
Is there a deadline for that? Do we just email you?
Just say that you want a form for a security investigation. And it's ongoing. I'm seeing it through me here, or Chris Powell's the staff member.
Chris Powell's.
Powell. Okay. One point I'd like to suggest here is that if we actually approve the bridge crossing across New Zealand River, on the Kaikohe-Hokianga Road, you actually get road security right from the Kaikohe and non-terry flooding. It would impede you. It's just one little bit there. And you've got that Kaikohe-Hokianga Road as a route. And we've really secured a really grand route between Kaikohe and Kaikohe. So, it's bits like that. But I prefer that stuff to come through from the community rather than just
Okay. Thank you, Joe. Thanks for providing us with information that nobody really knows a lot about for our area, and giving us that opportunity to do something about it. Thank you. Okay, moving on to our meeting, we have our speakers now. What do I call these names? Funding application speakers. So we have from Broadwood Mosaic Project, we have Jen Gay. And Jen and Jen. Okay, Jen, just a reminder, you've got 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I know I've only got 5 minutes, but I'd like to go to
Engage.
yeah,
Bye.
project. So I've got some additional information for this person straight up. Yeah. Okay. That's okay. So you can this. That doesn't got really on this.
We have seen these.
Yeah, it's a lot of information.
Yeah, nothing black.
Yeah, perhaps we'll put some, but I've seen some. Yeah.
Thank you.
Give it back to you with the-
I know. You see those?
Thank you.
So this is just 1 square. So we have 500 of these. So I'm Jen Gay, so I'm an artist, and I've been a self-employed artist for 45 years in the far north. With a bit of a beat. President of Arts Society for 30 years. Another big. Ran community education programs all through the. So basically everybody in the community. My claim to fame really is I taught 500 people in Kaikohe to make one of these tiles each and install them on Main Street, which was monumental. 6 months work. I'm able to put concrete in a wheelbarrow by hand, make each one. It's history. The community board decided they wanted to do something else for the Main Street. They got removed. I managed to save it. It was hard. But, it's an important part of history. It's a beautiful thing. We can make it into a beautiful thing again, and it's a great resource. We can't let it go to the landfill. It's not really an option. So we came up with a plan. I know, Gay, we're all both captain gardeners. Captain my place. So what's happening with the mosaic? It's been sitting there for 2 years. Let's make something else out of it. Gay said, we've got a perfect place. We've got a lay-by area that's really pretty property. There's not much in Broadwood for people to stop at. This is a really quite interesting area. It's by the river. People swim. They want to get out, want to picnic. The tables that were there were stolen. So we can make something phenomenal. The community wants to take charge of it. It's a win-win. And I've done this before. I'm 62 this year, and I've just been battling cancer. So it's like every day is precious. But this is my last community project. I am never going to do this again. It's like a bank robbery. This is my last job. But with the support of Broadwood community, we can pull this off. So,
Any questions?
Yes, I'm sure we'll have a few. I've got a couple. Member McVeigh.
Oh, kia ora. I just want to congratulate you on your extremely thorough consultation and application. There's a lot of information there, which gave me confidence that people are behind you. So well done on that. Yeah, I love the idea that Broadwood's going to take charge and make something beautiful, and I really want to support our smaller Hokianga communities to really achieve something. So the question that I have is just, I couldn't, when we got it here, it's just a little bit hard to read, so I'm just wondering what scale, like seats and so on, what kind of scale are you talking about?
of each new area, the seating area.
Are there different seating areas? Sorry, there's three seating areas.
Three concrete pads with a table will style.
Yes.
So they're 2 metres, and they're sort of in the middle of nowhere. They don't need to be logical sequence. So what we're going to do is construct 3 separate seating areas, and I've actually modified the design. I've just had this last minute thing, got another, So I, you know what it's like when you're making something and you think, oh, should have done it like that. So 3 seating areas, they've got planter boxes in each corner. So we're going to plant dwarf apple tree in each corner, food for the kids, place for kids to sit around. And the children are going to be involved in making this, so they'll take ownership of it. They're very dwarf apple trees, so they never get bigger than about 2 to 3 metres. They're delicious small apples. We're going to make, I'm not going to put backs on the seats. I thought, looked at the plan after about a couple of months, why am I putting backs on them? Because I thought people are getting out of the river after swimming, they want to put their towel down on the seat, they would probably want to lie down on the seat, warm, and people can sit from either side there, so they don't have to sit around the table, they can actually sit more casually around the outside. And then I'm going to extend the footprint instead of doing a square. So I looked at it from the road and I thought, if I do a round like a trifoil, it'll be more visually beautiful from distance, but it'll also give a concrete area for people sitting at the other direction, so they don't have their feet on the grass and it doesn't get muddy. But you can still mow straight over the top, it'd be the same level as the grass. It's a difficult project, like nobody, you'd have to be a nutter like me to take this on. It is a stupid project. Well, it's an amazing project, but a contractor wouldn't touch this. It is using a recycled material that's already been something else. It's difficult, but luckily we have the skilled people. We've got a group of guys who are concrete workers who are incredibly efficient and skilled. And so we can tap into those. They, group of lovely young guys. And the whole community is behind it. It's been already put the, up to 150 people or something, but 120 that want to take part. And I believe them, and these are people who have got machinery, which is even better. We've got tractors, we've got farms. So this is what the mosaic looks like now, which is just very sad. But storage gold, that's my thing, that's what I do. It's exciting. It's and the whole school's going to be involved.
Is it design area school?
Yes. The design concept, which I've just actually planned, is I'm going to use the river. I'll actually write around the tables as water is precious, because water is a huge thing, and the river. And I'm going to use a drop of water as my design thread. So it is water dropping and the radiating ripples, and it's a bit like the community.
And Councillor Hewson?
Look, this looks pretty great. What makes me excited, our underbus and toilets attract a lot of people. You could be famous in underbus. I'm just thinking. Yeah. But is there off-street parking? Because I can see, cameramen come through.
Oh, yes, it's a big.
So people to stop and visit. It'd be nice to make it a bit of a destination.
Very popular.
And can you please put a, information plaque or somewhere so that there's a recognition of what this was, history and what was done.
Definitely. So I'm a potter too. So I can basically print anything on clay and fire it, like Margaret Coop. And look, but wasn't she an amazing treasure? Yes.
That's right.
We've lost quite a few good artists too. Apparently I died. I think it's so funny. Rumours of my death have been vastly exaggerated. Yeah. People think I've died, and it's hilarious. Because I'm like, you're alive. Oh no, go back to dead, go back. Yeah, we have to treasure our artists. Very important in the community. If you want a town that looks a little bit different, then you go back to the artists. Yeah.
So my question is kind of around that, is that the maintenance of them. I see in the letter from Tiffany, the Facilities Technical Officer, he says council releases its obligations to maintain or replace the concrete slabs. And then it says all other maintenance for the area as currently constituted. What does that even mean?
I've spoken to Bo quite a few times, so we will take over an Orthodox gardening group, which I'm sort of chairperson of, will take over the maintenance of the seating area, but the council still mow that area. So we will make sure that there's no damage done to any table seating and things like that. So that's what Bo had in mind.
So the grass will still be mowed, but if anything happens to the mosaics, you and your group will fix them.
We'll take care of that.
Okay, and how many of you are there?
We fluctuate to about 30.
Okay, that's
So we've got lots of people in the community who
will start moving. Right.
Saying about mosaic, look at the Roman mosaics. How long have they been there? The Kaikohe mosaic, 30 years, never damaged, never graffitied. And if any tiles were taken off accidentally, there was a couple of accidents, people backing into it from the Packensack car park. People used to come up to me personally, Jen, there's a tile off the mosaic, and they would come up to me and I would fix it instantly. It's a sick chicken thing. So it's pretty.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, ladies, for the work that you're doing, and I'm really in favour of something happening in our little boardwood. That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm so excited I've lost my page. Okay, next up from Northern District's community, we have Stephanie Oliver. Stephanie.
I think of apologies for the issue that agency. So Sarah is on our committee is stepping in, and I'm also on the committee side.
Okay, hi. Sarah.
Sarah, Tēnā koutou katoa. I'm called Sarah Wright Tukuringo. My name is Sarah Wright. As Tammy was just saying, I'm here to represent at Morwera Community Hall. Emergencies, I'm yes. Thanks very much for giving me the opportunity to talk to this. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an idea about the community hall in case you haven't seen it and why, and wanted to show you how the money that we're asking for the use of the hall, how it was being well spent. It is an absolute asset to our community. The hall was built in 1966. It has a status of a war memorial building. And currently it's being used in two main areas. One is it's very important for community connection, and the second one is that it's a really important community hub in times of circumstance emergencies. So currently the hall is available, it's being used by a wide range of people for a lot of different purposes. One of those is we have a school just across the road, and they have access to the community hall, and they use the hall for different activities. I think one of them might be past.
Yes, we're looking at showing across with show days. to, I was literally put a run around the venue stuff. And I was a kid when we were at school.
Actually, a play group and demo.
Those skills.
Prove it. So there's, as Tiffany was saying, also it's a use as a play group for Tamariki. We also have our own in the community, our own cemetery, and so sometimes the hall is hired out to a tangi. And as well as that, we also have used it as a civil defence hub in the past. I believe during COVID, it was used as a distribution centre for supplies, so really, really valuable. And also, I think, as well as that, during the cyclone, it was quite hard to get access in and out of the community, so it's that. So really lots of different, a huge variety of people using it in a huge variety of different ways. It's really a massive asset. So what we're asking for is help for the panels in the main hall area. They're actually building down at the moment, and they're a little bit
Where it's located. But on the web, it doesn't have a lot of idea examples. It's big ones that are there as well, and other venues. It's used in day programs through the school holidays as well, or the weekends as well. So it's basically, it's the one place you can go to on the web to do something. As Sarah said, it was built originally by the residents of the area back in 1966 when the Army Hall burned down. So there's 50 years of community support for that hall. There's recently been a lot of investment through community funding through the hall, upgrading, repairing the roof. We've checked the community quite a bit. So this is why we're taking support from the council. They'd like to continue to use the hall for
Can you tell me how often it's used by the school or members of the community? Do you have a booking system or regular bookings for it, or?
Unfortunately, our secretary was going to be here today, but that's also detail. We just recently had a hall city meeting, and we were advised by the secretary that actually hireage has increased dramatically recently. Talking to some other people, we understand some fees have gone up. So, for example, at the Waimate Water Showground, that's $1,000 now to use the hall. So someone is instead coming to use our hall for their wedding preview, so it was being charged $200. So our understanding is there's been more interest recently in terms of it being hired for events of that nature.
And what about just daily hire?
So hire, it can be a little bit up and down. As I said, it's used in terms of the school holidays to run program. Otherwise, it's more driven by community events. So no, I wouldn't say it was used like that.
So it's quite a good hall. It does have a kitchen. It has a bathroom. It has like a basketball court for the old wooden floor inside. So that sort of makes it quite usable by a wide variety of people.
It's just across the school field, isn't it, on Larchway Road?
Yeah, you've got the school, you've got the fields, and you've got the hall. It's said by Sarah that in a major weather event, we obviously can cut off from there and get Mangamuka. And that's another 5 points, so it's always accessible. In terms of, as Sarah said, we've got like a supper room and main hall. So there's diversity in that people can book smaller room as well, so you don't always have to book.
Again, well done for keeping our halls going, and I'm really happy to see applications come from our small Hokianga communities through heartening, and congratulations and well done for looking after the hall and so on. I know how much work goes into these things, and that's really important. Now, so this is community owned, so council doesn't have official involvement per se, and I just wondered, have you, or probably if you haven't done so, but you probably have, there's other places that all committees go and get funding from as well. So yeah, COGS and DIA, I know other hall committees. It's useful, but it's.
Through the chair, I've already been talking with them about that. So
Oh, of course you have, Catherine. So I just, wanted to encourage that. It's a important thing to do and well done.
Hey, thank you, ladies, for the mahi you're doing and down in the little umawera.
Thank you, Pete.
The big umawera. All right. What do we have next? Next up from Public Forum, we have Melanie Chandler-Winters from the Bay of Islands Creative Charitable Trust. Kia ora, Melanie.
Kia ora. Thank you for this opportunity to talk to my application. I'm a member of the trustee of the Bay of Islands Charitable Trust, which looks after the Titai Tokerau Arts Trail. And I'm also the creative advisor for Creative Northland. And my sort of step into this role was really because of the fact that we really need to look after our big events in Northland and make an opportunity for all of our artists in marginalised areas and regional areas to really get supported and to be able to be a part of this arts trails. For this particular area, we look after obviously artists and galleries, individual artists and galleries in the Kaikohe, obviously out to Opanoni, we get into Rawene and Kohuko, and we've got a number of them that have stepped into that, and Mani as well, Toy Box. They're all now signed up for, which is fantastic. This initiative really started in 2023 to open up to the whole of the far north. It has been very successful in the past in reference to the coast, but we felt that it really needed now to actually get all of our visitors seeing the other parts of our wonderful. And it just meant that we have artists who are marginalised by location, marginalised by opportunities, being able to be seen, but also they are our storytellers. They're the ones that will actually be able to inform our visitors of our history, what's going on, and that's where we felt that it needed to be supported. So the money is not going towards promoting this. As you'll see in my brief, it's just really about we gauged how many people that we were coming into the region in 2023, and it's between 4,000 and 4,500 people that we gauged. So, which is wonderful. That's what we want to do with our visitors. Is actually bring them into our marginalised regions, our outer regions, and show them the brilliant beauty that's going on through our artists and the storytelling. So there's obviously the other regions of Monganui and Kaitaia, Te Ahu have now stepped in and they're part of the trail as well. So it's building. We've now got over 200 artists involved, and that's of course with galleries and obviously individual artists. We're working with the schools. So we actually, Te Wheke Gallery, which is here, Te Wheke, and we're working with the schools in reference to bringing children into their artwork and let that be part of the exhibitions as well. So once again, it all goes for all age groups. So we're just wanting to support that and keep that going in the region.
Thank you, Melanie. Any questions from Melanie?
Yeah, just a quick question, Melanie. Good, great idea. In terms of the tracking people in tourism, that's one of the things we're looking at, the regional deals, increasing the number of tourists. So I like your approach. But the question I've got is, what sort of numbers are you, I think you said something, what sort of numbers are you likely to get coming north and to the wider border areas? Sorry.
Expectations for this particular area?
Yeah. Oh, just generally, just what you track.
Well, we're certainly wanting to increase on 4,000 people that come into the region. It was, as I said, previous, it's been going a number of years, but previous has been really just around the Bay of Islands, and now we've actually opened up in 2023, we opened it up to farther regions. So we've actually got lots more people now being tracked from the Bay of Islands and further south down Whangarei, people, and also people from Auckland are phoning to be a part of the trail and want to come up to experience that long weekend in October.
And with this, just one other further question, will this tie in with what Whangarei is looking at becoming a centre? Thank you very much.
So the centre, sorry?
What Whangarei is looking at becoming a bit of an arts centre for the north.
I would challenge that. I think that only because I'm biased, is that we've got a huge amount, and we are working on that, and we know that the amount of money that's brought into the region is massive. So we're growing that region. We've certainly got a lot to support it, that's for sure. And it's a little bit different. We are geographically different, but that means that there's an importance of the fact that we are all satellites. So we're satellites in all of our region, we're all connected in our region, but we've actually got to be a little bit different because they're all different communities and they all tell a different story, which is difficult to formulate.
Thanks, Elaine. Good question from Linda McVeigh.
Yeah, kia ora. I'm really happy to hear that that you want to support our Hokianga and Kaikohe artists. So, and thank you for that, kōrero. That's really important. 2 questions. One is that did you track the numbers? I'm not sure how you're doing it, but did you track the numbers that have come through to our area in the last couple of years? And the other thing is, are you involved also with North Hokianga? Yes. Yeah. So yeah, just wondering about the numbers.
No, we actually did it on a so it was tracked for all of the galleries and things like that. So they would have picked up obviously the entrance of people coming into their region, like Rawani and Kaikohe.
But
we could separate that, obviously going forward. We could separate.
Probably a good idea from our perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Melanie, can you give me a very simple explanation of what happens? Because I'm hearing you talk about Hokianga, kuhu artists, but I see in your scope that it talks about we'll showcase in Kirikiri, and then in the project budget there's a venue. Both venues are in Kirikiri. Just how does it work?
Okay, so obviously with Kirikiri there's main venues with like your Turner Centre and obviously down Stone Store and those are the areas which put up Kingston House. But what we're dealing with, of course, is in our region, of course, with Kaikohe, Kaikohe, out to Opanoni, out to Rawani and that sort of area. They are all galleries. So those galleries are their centre point. So they're the art centres of their communities. And we support them by promoting the individual artists, but we also promote the actual gallery. So that's the building that they will then house all of those exhibitions. So, yeah. What we will try to do in the future is actually look at them on an ongoing basis as a centre for the arts in their region.
So how will you involve rangatahi in the trail and in the work that you're doing?
Contacting all the schools. And also the galleries within all of those regions, also contacting the schools and giving them an opportunity for them to supply their art.
How far away is the trail? How far away is the event?
October.
Okay, so no schools to my knowledge have been contacted yet?
Nothing at this moment in this region. So we've done Kirikiri and obviously the college, but nothing in this region as well. Not the schools, but they will be.
Okay, well, yeah. I just suggested that it's you hurry up because schools have like heaps of events going on, that's all, and we'd like to kind of try and fit it in for our kids.
The other thing that we've done is, of course, we're working with the people within the galleries within the region. The gallery, they do lots of workshops and things, and they do work in schools as well.
So essentially you're promoting a trail over that weekend and encouraging people and encouraging like larger exhibitions from local artists for that weekend that you're advertising to people who are buying. I think it was $10 a ticket and you get a wristband and things like that.
Yes. Yes. Okay, that's awesome. Thanks, Melody. Melody, for that presentation and the work that you're doing in our areas. And finally, we have from Kaikohe College, Phil Weber. Kia ora, Phil. Morning.
Thank you for seeing me this morning. My name is Phil Weber and I am the Finance and Property Manager at Kaikohe College. I do need to make it known that I'm not here for Kaikohe College. I'm here for the Kaikohe District and Schools 150th reunion. Kaikohe College is not part of that reunion. They are not organising it. We have a separate standalone committee, 8 of us that are doing that. The reunion is going to be held on Labour weekend of this year. In the last 150 years, there have been 23 contributing schools and put up to the area. Now we have 5. The plan for the weekend is Friday afternoon is a pōwhiri, which will include the Kaikohe College school, students, the Kaikohe primary students, and the evening will be a mix and mingle. Saturday morning we are opening Manamoka, Umawera, Hauraki and Kaikohe primary schools. So if you went to school in that at those schools over your childhood, you could go and visit those schools and relive your memories. Then in the evening between 5 and 9 on Saturday night, we're going to have a street party at Kaikohe College to catch up again with all your past friends. On a Sunday morning, the plan is to have a service at our school marae for planting of rocks and to cut the cake, so 150 cakes, and then there will be a golf tournament in the afternoon for those who want to be part of it. We are budgeting our expenses and our income on 435 visitors for the reunion. That number is made up of, that is our final capacity for high regulation and our. At the moment, the numbers are quite low, but our expenses don't change, and that's unfortunate. So at the moment, we've sold just under 130 tickets, but we still have to have the hierarchy of the toilets, the security fencing, the tables, liquor licence, traffic management plan, security, which is security is a given because of our liquor licence and to ensure that everyone on site is safe. Because the numbers are down, the income is down. That I had to take to the last committee meeting, if there is a deficit for the reunion, that actually sits with the 8 of us at the table. And that doesn't sit well with me or the other 7 that I brought it to their attention. So, all we can hope is that we have tickets sales improving. Kia Tupatu, who have given us advice for our traffic management plan, that is where one of our great expenses are. If our numbers go down, maybe we look at not doing that, but I don't think, and Kaikohe, the way set this way is, we can actually know that we are at risk. People park on both sides of the road. We have a stock truck yard down the road. We are going to expose ourselves to an issue if we let that happen and something does happen. And we know that in our paperwork, we had a quote for a traffic management plan. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell, really. It is unfortunate that it's not part of the Kaikohe College to be underneath their umbrella, but that's how it sits and that's what we've been advised. So we've moved forward with the reunion because we think it's important that the schools and districts celebrate their 150 years because it's a pretty great milestone. We're just hoping for a great weekend and an event. We know that we've got people coming international, so that will be a spin-off for accommodation, local marae and local towns and contributing areas around Kaikohe. Any questions?
Thanks, Phil. Any questions, Phil? I don't know if this is a question for Jill. Just noticed on page 9, the previous funding from FNDC, 4 amounts, all from.
So last year, end of 2023, I went to the Community Board in Te Haku, to yourselves and to the Bay of Islands, Whangaroa, to create a community, and that was all for the Tautau Trail Festival, which Kaikohe College hosted last year. And I know that why I'm here isn't part of Kaikohe College, but I wanted to be transparent and put that in for you. And also I included the financial statements for our Kaikohe College, because basically the website wouldn't let you go any further forward without submitting something. So that's what I had to put in there.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? No, thanks, Phil. All right, thank you. Thank you for the work that you're doing out there. Very cool. Okay, moving on to our agenda items. We have item 6.1, confirmation of previous minutes, and the recommendation is that Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board concluded the minutes of the meeting held the 11th of July 2025 to be approved with record. I'll move those minutes. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Member Bay. Any cordial around those minutes? No. All those in favour, please say aye. Any against? No abstentions. That's carried. Just want to welcome Councillor Kappa to our meeting. I hope you enjoyed your bacon and eggs and extra toast Councillor Kappa. Item 7.1.
Happy to move.
I'll second.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Vucic and seconded by Member Chairman.
Chair, the report is online.
And we have Brooke Taylor online. Thank you, Brooke. So the recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board recommend to Council A, grant a new ground lease to Kaikohe District Sportsville incorporated over approximately 485.7 metres squared of land being lot 31 DP 10,045 and 7067.5 metres squared of land being parked lot 3 DP 22327 vested in the Far North District Council as a recreation reserve located at 36 Recreation Road, Kaikohe. The terms of the proposed lease shall be term 30 years, 10 plus 10 plus 10, allowed for under the Reserves Act 1977. Rental $121 plus GIST for 2024-25 and reviewed annually in conjunction with the FNDC fees and charges schedule. B, authorises the group manager delivery and operations to negotiate the final terms and conditions of the lease and execute the lease on behalf of council.
Yeah, I can speak to this, but want to add anything, Taylor, first?
Through the chair. Sorry I couldn't be there with you today. Just turn my camera on there. The only thing I'd like to add is I'd just like to recognise that we have had some significant changes in management and leadership in our department, and also Sportsville has had the same concerns. So while this resolution has taken a long time for us to get to, we have put a LTO in place to ensure that we've got that operating while we negotiate these final steps of the lease.
Thank you. In speaking to this, Madam Chair, I'm a bit disappointed it's late in the piece coming here because the Sportsville require a lease to be able to raise extra funding to show that they actually do manage that land. And that was raised to council as well. So it is critical that we go ahead. And I might add that this whole initiative, that Sportsville owns the building there, and it's a great, as yourself, Chair Chicky, you mentioned just how it's being used by the community. It's a great asset in a town that needs activities such as sport. So 100% agree with it. You'll see that council put in, and this is for, this just as a general comment I want to make. This is going to go to council, and it puts the council put in capital contribution of 3.226 million roughly. And I see the comments that people have made, some are saying yes, and some are saying no, but disappointed about the no's. But this whole complex cost probably close around about 50 million. So when you put this paper to council, can you actually put the total cost to me as well, please? Because it's so around the council table so they can appreciate what was done. Because if it's around about that, which I think it is, council only put in about 26%. The rest was actually funded from various sources to put it out. So some of the comments and no's, council spending all this money, this actually was driven by the community. Even with other communities, percentage-wise, this community's put in more than the others, relatively speaking. And so it's so definitely supported. I think it's a great initiative, and I want to see they'll to go on and raise funding for protection of the floor and various other things that they'll need to, and they have to prove a lease.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Vucic. Just regarding the floor there, I think somewhere along the line it has to come up that the floor that they get for events like the Tōpihiki tour that they had at Kaikohe last weekend cost approximately $20,000 for it to come up from Auckland and be laid and then taken away. So it won't be too long before those big events who may not get the funding that they haven't done in the past can't hold events there because of the flooring. I went to the welcome back for Decarmid Armstrong, and I felt really embarrassed that we had visitors to our town who had, and Kuya in Kaumātua who couldn't sit in Papahawaiki because the plastic chairs weren't allowed on the mezzanine floor because it would be damaged. So I just want to find opportunity to raise that somewhere along the line too. In regard to Papahawaiki, it's a beautiful building, but it's not fit for purpose at the moment, I don't believe. And we'll stop using it, or it won't be used because of those reasons in the future, I think.
Yeah, just Madam Chair, because it's been video, just so clear, that it's actually designed, it's got 2 full-size basketball courts in there, full size, and they can split it out to small ones, but the floor is sprung floor, high quality, so we want to protect it from being scratched, and that's what you're referring to, and that requires a covering that we can roll up and put in place. That's where they can go out for external funding, but they need to show that they got the lease, and that's, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just want to speak in support of Sports for Papahawaiki. Amazing facility, and for the people from here, from all around, including Hokianga, and bringing people in. So it's great. In terms of one of the concerns of the no and the consultation was around the length of the lease. But presumably, and Brooke might know this, presumably there's clauses within normal leases that if for any reason the facility isn't maintained or so on, there are clauses to address that. So there was some concern that if things didn't go well for whatever reason, that they're locked into a lease. But I imagine there's clauses to deal with that.
Through the chair, that is correct, and any lease will go through legal before it is completed.
Well done. Thank you, Brooke. I will put that recommendation to the vote. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? Abstentions? That is carried. Moving on to item 7.2, looking at funding applications. First funding application recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $4,727 plus just applicable we paid from the board's private place fund account to the Broadwood Mosaic Project, Jean Gay, for the cost towards the reinstallation of the tile mosaic on a roading reverb in Broadwood.
I'll let you do that.
Thank you. We have a mover, Member McVeigh, and a seconder, Member Edmonds. Deputy.
Yeah, I think this is a great example of community input and the benefits and the economy we can get from having community input, right? I mean, so this is going to cost $4,727 of council money or community money. When as Jen was pointed out, no contractor would take it on. So you can imagine that if a contractor did take it on, it'd be $1 million. When, it costs $500,000 for 2 toilets out in Broadwood. So here we are. This is 1% of getting the council to do it, and it seems to be a theme here, right? I mean, we've got that Kaitaia Dam that costs 10% of what council would do it for with a community involvement. So I just wonder that maybe the community should get more involved in some of those infrastructure projects. That maybe our rates will be might go up some months. Oh, sorry, the council is here. You can pay that back and use my name if you want.
I have taken it back and used my name and
Member McVeigh.
Kia ora, just support the kaupapa. It's really good to be able to do things for our little townships, our little communities out in Hokianga, and they put a lot of work into the application. They got a lot of support. They really did ask a lot of people, and I just think it's a really good thing to support for communities to take charge and be involved in things that are important to them.
I'll put that recommendation for vote. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Any against? No, none, and no abstention. That is carried. 7.2b. The recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $5,000 plus just, if applicable, be paid from the board's community grant fund account to the Umawere and Districts Hall for the costs to repair the internal hall roof. Moved by Member Edmonds and seconded by Councillor Vucic.
Similar comment here. I mean, the owner, the halls that the council owns cost an absolute packet. And we've got one here that owns owned by the community, and in a decade we give them $5,000. This is just a no-brainer.
I agree with that. In fact, there's another hall. There's a few that's probably owned. One is another one. Best looking hall I've seen. And so all power to community there.
Back to the floor. All those in favour? Any against? No abstentions? That is carried. Item 7.2C, the recommendation that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $3,000 plus just, if applicable, be paid from the board's community grant fund account to the Bay of Islands Creative Charitable Trust towards the costs of Coast 2025. So I have a mover for that. Thank you, Member McVeigh. I'll second that. Any thought at all around that?
Yeah, that's, you know, for that price to support our little art galleries and our local artists and our tamariki, and to bring people in. And, you know, a lot of these galleries, or some of the galleries, have cafes attached and so on, so people will perhaps buy something or visit and purchase something else and maybe stay over. So I'm really happy to support that because of those reasons.
Only comment I'd add to that, Madam Chair, is that it's good to see them going out in various places, and hey, I think Portland Mosaic might be on their list to do as well.
That's right.
But it's good to see our artists, because we've got some real great artists doing things almost in the quiet, to actually be able to see them being brought forward and showcased. So, yeah, very happy with that.
Thank you. I'll just add that I'm looking forward to schools being involved. You know, we've got some huge talent in our schools, and sometimes they go untapped. So I'm looking forward to having opportunity for our rangatahi and younger children in our schools across the area involved in that kaupapa. So I'll put that recommendation to the floor. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? No, and no abstentions. That is carried. Item 7.2D, recommendations is that Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $2,512 plus just, if applicable, be paid from the board's community grant fund account to the Hokianga Country Music Club Incorporated towards the costs of the 2025 Hokianga Country Music Festival. Member McVeigh has moved that, and Councillor Vucic has seconded it. Anything to comment on?
One of the biggest weekends in Hokianga, so popular, very happy to support it, and look how cheaply they do amazing things.
They got good talent there as well, that's my comment. Hey, babe, did you perform there last time?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
What's your talent, babe?
Sorry?
What's your talent?
I tune guitars.
I tune guitars.
Perhaps you could give us a rendition over lunch.
There's our band is actually in there somewhere.
Oh.
So thanks for planning for me.
Playing in the banjos. Okay, I'll put that recommendation to the floor. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? No abstentions. That is carried. Item 7.2E, recommendation that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $5,000 plus just if applicable be paid from the board's community grant fund account to the Okaiho College towards the costs of Okaiho and District School's 150th reunion. Do I have a mover for that?
Oh, I'll move it.
Thank you, Councillor Vucic. Should I have a seconder? I will second that.
Thank you, Joe.
Yes.
I think he was surprised. I was amazed. 150 years that Kaikohe College has been. I didn't know that. Even local college, I think, 1947 when they were first established. So I'm encouraged to see them going out and doing that and involving the community, the small community, and they've done good stuff with that school. So yeah, I'll support it.
I agree.
I'm going to speak against, or it's at least the number.
Yes.
I mean, what it boils down to, I mean, I'm looking at these other 4 items, and I'm looking at the massive leverage we get from what it amounts to our limited funds. And now and again, we get requests for reunion money, and we've had a few here, and I've always spoken against them. And what it boils down to is you've got a bunch of people, what amounts to a private party, always a small number of people, always a large number of dollars. And like I say, when I compare it with the other things that have been granted today, I just can't, in fairness and a good moral, in my heart, say $5,000 for 100 people to come to a reading in Old Kaikohe and have pretty much, like I say, a private party. So I mean, I'd go as high as 1,000, but I'm going to vote against 1,000, like 5,000.
So yesterday, the same application is applied through the Bay of Islands Fund Law. But I think from my point of view, and I support the application in this view that it is covering the 130 years for the schools in Kaikohe, because I think they're connecting the primary as well. And I also think that this draws people back into the area, at the history of the area, not only of Kaikohe. And there was a comment that was made that for the Kaikohe colleges in that ward or this ward. I just wanted to remind people that our children decide to go to whatever school following tomorrow's school. And I know that there are a number of children from Kaikohe and from Kerikeri who attend Kaikohe as well. So the contribution back into the wider area is immense, both from the education perspective, those that live there, also in the rugby view, and then also netball and all the other sports that draws those people.
Thank you, Councillor.
And I was just going to say, echoing on, it did go to the Bay of Islands Board yesterday. It is in your ward, but the Bay Board saw the value of this and granted $2,500, even though it was not in their ward.
Just adding on from that, I like the application because it will involve the smaller local schools and give them some pride of their place. And I know that the Horeke Umawera schools are really looking forward to showcasing their school to people who are 70 and 80 years old that are going to come back and have a look at the place that they once were sitting in. For me, that speaks dollars, and I can see stars in the little kids' eyes, seeing these old people come through their school, knowing that they once were there too. So I will be supporting the application.
So right, unless Jesse wants to speak, I'll do a right reply. Yeah, just as a right reply. I actually just I thought she said the numbers are 400 odd that she was expecting.
That's what they're expecting, over 100.
435 is the capacity of the hall. It's the maximum capacity they can have.
150 tickets. So.
Well, 130, which is the reason they want money, right? Because they don't want to lose. They said they've sold 130 tickets so far.
Oh, 130.
Okay, and the reason they want the money is because they've only sold 130 tickets. So they don't want to. The committee doesn't want to lose any money.
Yes. Yeah. How far away is the event? 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah, but just do my right.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, so as I said, I think they were expecting up to 430, whatever the can actually take, and so far they've sold some. And that's next year, isn't it? It's going to happen. So, but the other thing, what I was going to say is that Kaikohe is, I didn't say that, but sort of Babe sort of made me think about it. Kaikohe is a small community that, with the cycleway coming through, are really reinventing themselves. And I can see them putting a lot of effort into things, and I don't want to stop that from happening. And certainly encouraging people to come through because they are. So, and it's along the lines maybe I was saying, hopefully a lot of these ex-students will come back and visit the place and be pleasantly surprised, and you never know, actually do other support as well. I don't know, daughter's an ex-student. And maybe I should buy a ticket for her. won't be there, unfortunately. I'll be somewhere else. I'm booked on that later weekend. So I support it.
Thank you, Councillor Pearson. I'll put that recommendation to the floor. All those in favour? Aye. Any against?
Reported against, member Edwards? Edwards, reported against?
And no abstentions. Thank you. Moving on to item 7.3, funding project reports. Recommendation is that Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board note the project reports received from 2024 Pukepuke Spring Show, Hokianga Community Education Trust, TTPK, Momentum Charitable Trust, Okanoni Residents and Ratepayers, Rob Pink Valley Sand, Solomon Group Youth Event, Te Tai Tokedo Kapahaka Festival, and Wheat Bitch Try Challenge. I'll move that recommendation, seconded by Member Edmonds. Do you have any discussion around those reports? Any connection?
I have a conflict with TTPK.
Thank you. Okay, all those in favour? Aye. Any against? And one conflict of interest. Okay. Okay, item 7.4 on the agenda, Chairperson Members Report. That should just say Members Report, I believe. We have one report from Deputy Chair Tanya Fair that the Hokianga Community Board note the August 2025 member report from Deputy Chair Tanya Fair. I'll move that. I have a seconder. Thank you, Member McVeigh. Any discussion or thought about that report?
Some long-standing items that hopefully we can keep pushing through given the chance.
Okay, I'll put that recommendation to the floor. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? No abstentions, or is carried. Item 7.5, we have a supplementary agenda, and we have Emma Manning here. Join the table to talk to us about this supplementary agenda. Okay, so the recommendation states that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board, A, endorse the Broadway Kaikohe Placemaking Plan in Attachment 1, B, approve incorporating the Broadway Kaikohe Placemaking Plan into the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board Strategic Plan 2023-25, and recommend that Council also endorse the Broadway Kaikohe Placemaking Plan and approve its inclusion in the 2027-37 long-term plan. I will move that recommendation. Do I have a seconder?
So can I clarify what we're actually moving? Is it the whole?
Once we've moved it, we can clarify.
Well, if you don't get a seconder, I'd like to propose another motion.
Okay, do I have a seconder for that?
I will second it.
Thank you, Member McVeigh. Now, would you like to ask your question?
So I'm catching up, scrolling through, and I'm looking at this, which we got recently. So I'm just checking that we're just moving the receiving this report. Or what are we actually moving? Sorry.
Through the chair, you're moving the recommendation, which is the entire recommendation, which endorses the plan, and it goes into the strategic community board strategic plan, and then it goes up to council for endorsement and inclusion in the long-term plan. So the entire thing.
So the entire thing, which had 6 options, but focused on one, which is the town. And at the moment, is that what we're talking about?
Emma talk to us about the supplementary, and then we can ask questions following that. Recommendation. Thank you, Emma.
Through you, Chair. So just a summary of what's in the report. Yeah, no worries. So we started this placemaking project a year ago, and as part of the project, consultants are conducting engagement with the wider Kaikohe community, which included a lot of engagement events. And through their engagement events, they came back to us after working with the project steering committee throughout the process. They came back to us with 6 recommendations based on their engagement. When we received those 6 recommendations, we had $107,000 that we could put towards priority recommendations. Of that, $50,000 went to the painting of the town concept. The other $57,000 hasn't been allocated yet because it's for capital works funding, and there wasn't a specific project that came out of the recommendations that we could align cleanly with that amount of money. So we're still having conversations with the project steering committee, and we will come back to you at a later meeting with a recommendation.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah, so when we're moving this, are we moving, like, I have questions around that $50,000, which, look, I love the paint the town concept, but the $50,000 is essentially a one-off water blasting of the town, which I thought, well, that's a good business to get into if I wanted to. And I also had questions because you had mentioned last time it was a chemical, and I still don't know. I don't know if that's in here. Sorry, I don't have time to read all of it. But what kind of chemical we're blasting the town with, and that will presumably go down the storm drains and into systems. And so I had asked that last time. And then I was sort of cautious about approving $57,000 out of our small funds without knowing what we're actually approving for some, and I understand why. I understand that it needs to be on council assets and it needs to be capital works and so on, but it's kind of real different outcome than possibly we had anticipated with that.
Through your chair, I can respond to those in a few different parts. So the first element of your question relates to what is this recommendation today? So this recommendation is not relating to the $57,000. It's an opportunity for the community board to endorse what it is that came out of the engagement phase through ARCO, which is culminated in the plan. So essentially the community have given the feedback through the officers to the community board about what they want to see in the town. So part of what we've explained throughout the report is a lot of the improvements that are being recommended they're probably a larger scope than you were anticipating when we started the project. It is the nature of placemaking that we ask people what they want for their town, and this is what they came back with. So that's why part of the recommendation is to forward on this to the council for their consideration for inclusion in the LTP. And the 6 recommendations have a range of different issues. Each of them have different issues, which we've gone through in the report. Some relate to ownership, some relate to needing to have further engagement in the community. There's a range of different issues, some relating to flooding and those kind of things. So it's really more appropriate for the council level to consider whether we actually implement these things after a consultation through the LTP process. But in saying that, the council, this is your report, and it would be your endorsement of that report that would enable the council to consider that inclusion in the LTP. The other part of the question that you had related to the stormwater and the chemicals. So I believe that we have circulated that information to you. 29th of July. A couple of weeks ago. Yeah. So Premier Exteriors, who had provided a quote to Far North Holdings, had I don't remember the exact details off the top of my head, but they've obtained the SDS for the chemicals that they use, and they are quite mild. And in terms of the way that they're intending on using that, the stronger chemicals are diluted. There's no specific permissions required for the kinds of chemicals that they're able to purchase and use for this work, and it is all going to be diluted.
I'll just make a comment here before I do my real comment. And the other thing, if this is done in summer, which I presume it will be.
It depends on when we actually get everything aligned, but it's intended for September, October or November this year.
Okay, so at that time it's going to be hopefully fairly dry, and I know this doesn't mitigate what Jess is concerned, but there is no stormwater reticulation in Kaikohe. It all goes down to a great big sink pit, so it just goes sink into the ground, and I presume gets diluted over time. Okay, my my thing here is I wish to move an amendment that reads that the phrase excluding the section entitled Kaikohe Marketplace be inserted after every instance of Broadway Kaikohe placemaking plan.
Did I get that?
Yep. Okay, so I'll need to check that. I'll go and say.
I did have a question regarding that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to be.
Oh, sorry, it's just in the second amendment, otherwise it's not.
Oh,
Well, probably.
sorry.
Okay, so let me explain what it says, right? So basically, I do not believe that the Kaikohe Marketplace section is appropriate in this report. Okay, so I'm moving that the phrase excluding the section entitled Kaikohe Marketplace be inserted into the motion after every incidence of the Broadway placemaking. So, we'll endorse the Broadway Kaikohe placemaking plan except for the section entitled Kaikohe Marketplace. So,
I had a question relating to that. I'm happy to second that because it sort of deals with one of my concerns, because I think in earlier discussions we have, there wasn't that support for the marketplace.
yeah, so what if I explain why? Then,
Sure.
So in this report, there's no evidence supporting the marketplace. There's no documented evidence supporting the marketplace. In fact, from what I've been told, this whole page has been pretty much promoted by one person. And not got a wide range of support. And in fact, the only evidence is the letter from the very well written letter, and from one of the business owners in town, giving all sorts of evidence against the marketplace. So, I mean, we've got no evidence for, a whole bunch of evidence against, and so it's in this document. There's no acceptable place. There's one, the Pioneer Village is listed as a place. And it points to the Pioneer Village report later in the article, but the Pioneer Village report doesn't reference possibility of marketplace there. The comments of the letter are unrebutted. The letter was, I think, extremely well argued and seems to drive a spear through the heart of this proposal. It's heartening to see that we still have business owners that can put together such a coherent letter. It makes the sports ball area is unsuitable because they have to rebuild the customer base, which supports the contention of the letter that the market doesn't have its own customers because they are effectively parasitic on the business area, okay? And the goodwill generated by the business area. It's page 40, what made the letter.
Page 40.
Okay, I hear complaints that Kaikohe doesn't have good shops. Indeed, Better Electrical just closed down. If shops close down because the markets take that last little bit of commerce that keeps them open, then we'll not be able to buy things most of the week, only on Thursday nights. And finally, if it's shown to be a good idea, then we can put it back. Now, the next community board will put it back, we can have a report to put it back, and all that kind of stuff. Yet once it's in, it's going to be impossible to remove it. So we're going to have future community boards or future staff or future community saying, look, the marketplace is in the report, it's in our plan, we want it. And I'm saying the supplement should be what we know rather than just being put aside. So I'd like that section to be unsupported by the meeting.
Yeah, I'm happy to second that. I know that was discussed in the meeting prior, and there was no real place identified, which the report does show. And I'm a little bit concerned, nothing against what's happening down on Thursday nights, but I am concerned that when the library gets built, it's not beyond that land, which it isn't, but it's over Runanga land, which they can still carry on with. So the function still occurs.
I'm not saying close it, I was just saying don't put it in the
That's the point I'm saying. I'm not saying you are saying that. But what I'm saying is we don't know where it's going to go at the moment. There's nothing that's purpose-built. I know there have been some discussion about it. And that work I don't think has been completed at this stage. So that's why I support that amendment.
I'm not convinced that we should leave it out, but if it can be put back in later, then on that, with that thought, then yes, I'm happy to support that recommendation.
I'll just make a comment, having received and quickly looked over this, and my apologies, I didn't pick this one up. One of these chemicals talks about it being hazardous in the...
Can we dispatch the amendment first and then we'll go back to that?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Just completing that now, and then I will put it on screen so you know what you are about.
A lot of work has been done, by the way, and the colour scheming and everything else that's been done.
On screen now for you, member.
Okay. The amended recommendation is on screen. Yeah. Can you go through that, Elaine? Want to read that out again?
Thank you.
Okay, the recommendation, the amendment reads that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board, A, endorse the Broadway Kaikohe placemaking plan excluding the section entitled Kaikohe Marketplace in attachment 1, B, approve incorporating the Broadway Kaikohe placemaking including the section entitled Kaikohe Marketplace into the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board Strategic Plan 2023-25 and recommend that Council also endorse the Broadway Kaikohe placemaking plan excluding the section entitled Kaikohe Marketplace and approve its inclusion in the 2027-37 long-term plan. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Any against? No, and no abstentions. Thank you, that has been carried.
Now that it's a substantive motion, we can then it has to be.
Yeah, then we go to Jess.
Yeah, sorry, what was that?
Because it's a substantive motion now.
It's one
No,
word.
no, we've done it. We had the original one moved in second.
Ah, I see.
We had
Got
the amendments moved in second. So
And we've done it.
so now we continue discussing
Jess.
the new motion. Yeah.
Yes.
Is it a new motion?
Well, no, it's
No, it's a discussion.
Yeah,
Right.
modified.
Yes.
I'd just like to add in, I still have concerns around the chemical aspect of, I'm all for the plan, I'm all for cleaning up Kaikohe. It's not quite what we wanted, just getting water blasting, but I recognise it's a start. But I do still have concerns about the use of the chemicals. In the first one of the house wash, it does say avoid release to the environment. And when you go and understand about dilution, have some experience around this stuff, and I'm very concerned, regardless of summertime, regardless of your stormwater systems, this does make statements about keeping it out of the water, keeping it out of waterways, and there's a line in here that I'm quickly looking for. Do not release to waterways, number 12, ecological information. So I want to really clearly state that if this goes to council and this goes ahead, then I am against using this type of chemical for this type of use. I don't know what happens moving forward. It won't be for me to decide, but I do want to make that statement.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you, that's noted. Anything further, Emma, that you have to talk about? Okay, thank you. Yeah. Moving on in our agenda.
Hang on.
Just put the whole thing to vote now.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? No, that is carried.
You passed probably a Melissa or Dolly question. Would that probably go with our recommendation up to council? With like, I feel quite strong about that.
It shouldn't, because it wasn't a committee decision. The way to make it a committee decision is for you to move that it be added to the minutes. Okay, so you should right now make a motion that I move that my concern that this shouldn't be released to the environment be included in a recommendation to start. Okay, and then some way, at least that's in the minutes. But other than that,
So that's why I'm asking, can I do what Mike just said, please?
just do it.
I move that my comments around my strong concerns around the chemical wash, the house wash in particular, but the chemical wash of the water blasting be included in our minutes for consideration from the council going forward.
Through the chair, could I have that in writing so that I didn't catch all of that, Jess, so I didn't get it? And I encourage community board members, if they have amendments, to provide those to us in advance so we can have it ready. If you just send it to me.
You're getting old, buddy. You're not doing it.
I'm not a sharper's tack. That's okay. That's okay. You'll have another sharper, more onto it, administrator next time. Okay.
You're amazing, Marlene. I don't.
So as soon as I get the word in.
So,
Get the wording nice and succinct for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it becomes a board concern, right? Because once we all agree, it becomes a board concern. So the wording will be something, I move that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board expresses its concern about the chemical used, or chemical being recommended to be used for the can cleanup referenced in the previous item. Or something like that.
The board would like it noted their concerns around the chemicals that is used for that thing. Something like that, otherwise we get too wordy and nobody understands what's being said.
no, Jesse Long's right.
Just kind of lose the.
And the second, it's going to be what?
I've got the mover and the second. I'm just waiting for the wording and we go.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you, everybody. Yes.
Yeah, just while that's happening, I couldn't make a comment. There has been concern about that generally water is only a short-term thing. And I think there was, if I remember correctly, a desire to work with the landowners. I think that's the process.
Yes.
To look at ways that do other things at the same time and make that money go further. But, yes,
Yes, we have Kaikohe Business Association and Emma, I believe. Oh, Linda, you're still here, aren't you? Yeah, we have Kaikohe Business Association members talking to individual shop owners around making sure that they're aware that this is happening, and secondly, to see if they will do some repairs to their shop frontages prior to the washing happening. And paint.
Can I add a little bit?
No, sorry, you can't, Linda. But if you whisper to me, I might then. So yeah. So yes, that's the concern, is that we'll get the wash and then hopefully we'll get some painting done soon after that.
Madam Chair, you're welcome to call for an adjournment of 5 minutes while we do that. Anybody want to take a buffer?
She's just put a full stop, you can see.
Yeah.
teacher eyes.
That's the way you can tell you.
And my sharp eyes are on the lookout for it. Yes.
Something like that. I move that the KHCB express our concern about the chemical use in the water blasting and the placemaking project due to the possibility of the chemical entering the waterways via stormwater. The warning on the label states that the chemical should not enter waterways. Sorry, I'm getting with more time.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Have it on the screen, 1 moment.
Again, the amendment is the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board express our concern about the chemical use in the blasting project due to the possibility of chemical entering waterways via stormwater. The warning on the label states that the chemical should not enter waterways. We have a mover and a second.
Strictly speaking, that's not an amendment, it's a new motion. So I mean, that doesn't make any difference. It's not an amendment.
It's not either. Yeah, new motion. And we have a mover and a seconder. I'll put that to the floor. All those in favour? Aye. Thank you. Any against? No abstentions. Thank you, Jess, for bringing that to our attention. Moving on to 8.1, open resolutions and actions update. Recommendations is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board receive the open resolution report for August 2025. Any, we have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Vusic. I'll second that. Do we have any questions around that report?
Just a quick question. Open resolution, given that what meeting?
1 September.
I'm just wondering how many of these close was in.
Well, they don't close just because we are not community board.
No, I know that, but I'm just wondering how many can get closed.
Yeah,
So that we actually are doing things, because some of these go back.
They get closed when there's a resolution on them, and we review them every month, like every agenda.
Yes.
And so they're on there.
On the ground,
there are some things on there so as not to lose sight of what's happening.
Yes, I realise that.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't close just to say close it. But like, for example, the 27th of March, there's some actions there. I'm just wondering if we can, because I know that council itself is trying to focus on any action items to be done as soon as possible.
So we're going to, after this one, the one about the memorial, the plaque for lorry buyers is going to come off, because that's sitting with, that's been, the board's approved it and it's sitting with the family and the Lions Club. So we've done what we can with that. So that one, that's into that.
Yeah, just one more question. So
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. We move and second that. Okay, all those in favour? Aye. Any against? No abstentions. That's carried. Item 9, resolution to exclude the public.
I'll move that.
Thank you, Mike. Mike has moved the public be excluded from the following parts of the proceedings of this meeting. The general subject matter of each matter to be considered while the public is excluded. Reason for passing this resolution in relation to each matter and the specific grounds under section 48, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 for the passing of this resolution are as follows. So thank you. All right. Thank you. One moment.
So
I got again.
Okay, I'll put the
I've been up for Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us today at our Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board meeting. I will finish our meeting with a closing karakia. E inoi tātou, kia tau, kia tātou katoa, te atawai o te tātou ariki, a ihu karaiti, me te haunga o te atua, me te whiwhinga tangitanga, i te wairua tapu, ake, 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 ane. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mary-Jan. You can end the live stream.